Hi, I'm Jason Gorber for ThatShelf.com, and we're here to look at the Record Store Day Black Friday 2023 edition.
The shelf.
Another Record Store Day. There's now two a year, basically. The regular one in the spring, and obviously the Black Friday sale. Black Friday usually has a few slightly more esoteric things. It's really grown into this way of certain titles getting a chance to shine, getting people enthusiastic about vinyl. I did find this year the lineups were significantly less. There wasn't a big shiny thing that everybody was going gonzo for. Olivia Rodrigo, I think, was the one. But for me, there was just looking at the list at first, I didn't see much that I was in the market for. But of course, as soon as you get there, there's a bunch of titles that I know. It's weird. If it wasn't part of RSD, I know I probably wouldn't necessarily go and seek these out. But being curated in this way, it actually allows me to sort of hone in on some records that I know I'll absolutely adore. Some of my favorite records that I bought over the years have been Record Store Day things. I think of the Elton John stuff, for example. That's probably stuff I would have bought normally anyway, but they're exclusive editions. But there's a bunch of compilations, things like that, that either RSD first, which means that it's coming out on RSD, and then on some sort of like colored variant or something like that, or a bunch of them are just simply never come out ever again. And it's those that I really like to champion and actually celebrate. So I picked up a bunch. I literally just got back on this. Here's the first one. Again, sort of way out of left field a little bit for me, but this is what we got here. We got Black Jazz, the complete singles, 2 LP set, first ever collection of single sides from the legendary Black Jazz label. I don't know this label at all, but I went and listened to a couple things on it, and just literally try. This is always a good sign. Is when I try to find a couple of these tracks on some of the streaming services or even YouTube, they're not available. I'm like, oh, this is going to be some deep cut stuff. There's some people I've heard of on here, which is saying something. I don't know Gene Russell. I don't know Kelly Pearson, Rudolph Johnson, Doug Karn, Walter Bishop Jr. But the one I do know is the Powerhouse Parts 1 and 2 by Chester Thompson. Just presuming it's the same Chester Thompson, I'm going to go on that we all know and love. But nonetheless, there's a complete single set from Black Jazz. Let's crack it open and see what the thing actually looks like inside, shall we? Open it up, try to keep the sticker. Again, it's not your first rodeo of doing it. Inside we have a gatefold. Excellent, with the details about all the songs. Let's try to find that, Chester. Yeah, there we are. Chester Thompson. I made a phone call to Tower Power. This is drummer David Garibaldi who tells me CT is gold. He changed the direction of Tower Power. Yeah, so the Manchester. Of all of them, that's the one that I know, and I don't know the track. So this is completely new stuff for me. I'm really very much looking forward to digging into it. Ooh, actually in paper-lined sleeves, and look at that. Look how pretty that is. Paper-lined poly, which is what we want. This is from Gotta Groove Records, the sort of mo-fi-ish style. And yeah, that is pretty, I gotta say. Very happy with that. Again, color vinyl can occasionally sound better in instances where the actual run is smaller. So they actually spend a little bit more care. It gets pressed at a slightly better pressing plant than the actual black vinyl release. This one obviously exclusive. Nice and clean. And yeah, that's pretty fantastic. On camera, it probably looks very orange here. It's a sort of gold rockin' color. That's a lot of fun. So there we are. First one. Let me just put this back so we don't kill the records. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay. Another one. Never normally pick up. Don't know the record at all. But it's on Soul Jazz, which is usually a very, very good thing. This is Ripple, a seminal rare groove funk and deep soul album originally released in 1973 on GRC Records. I mean, golden. Limited edition, one-up pressing, and download code. Contains all-time classic I Don't Know What It Is, but sure is funky. One of the most memorable funk tunes of all time and sampled many times over. That song I do know. Didn't realize it was Ripple. See? But I just saw this and I'm like, this needs to happen. So this is what I picked up. Let's try to open this up without destroying the case. Inside we have ye old Soul Jazz. Like, look, like all my Soul Jazz stuff is just amazing. It's just such a great, great, great label. the ska stuff, the dub stuff they have, some of the reggae, the New Orleans funk, all kinds of stuff. The record itself is in this paper sleeve. It was a bit frustrating. I would love if this was polylined. The record looks okay. Let's see, some schmutz is on here, but it's going to go in the degrader, and I'm sure it will be fine after that. But yeah, that's our brief look at Ripple on Soul Jazz. Then this one I didn't even know was coming. I mean, you go through the list, and I didn't spend as much time as probably I could have, especially going through the UK stuff. This might have been on the American list or on Canadian list, but I didn't notice. But I'm a giant fan of Hair, and I got McDermott's Hair, and I've been buying a bunch of his more esoteric recordings. And this came out, Ghetto Suite, composed, conducted, and produced by the creator of Hair and two gentlemen of Verona, Galt McDermott. It's a Black Friday exclusive. It's on Tidal Wave Music. And yeah, this is one of those that I was not even knowing that it was like a potential, and I walked in, and I'm like, oh God, I think I need to have it. Inside we have My Nemesis, right? Lovely album. This one was not cheap because it came from Europe, but here we are in straight up paper sleeve. And this is what we do to paper sleeves around here. Friends don't like friends. Actually pull records out of paper sleeves. That being said, despite the fact that it has all kinds of paper sort of mush into the record, that should clean up again relatively well, I hope. Jazz Dispensary at the Movies. This one, again, not necessarily at the top of my list, but I kind of love this stuff. Compilation of this level of soul and funk from a bunch of movies. I have one of them, Sweetback's theme is on here, Melvin Peebles. I have that record. But the rest of it is Time is Tight by Booker T. That'll be a slightly different mix, I believe. But yeah, Isaac Hayes, Charlie Ireland, two Isaac Hayes actually, Pursuit of the Pimpmobile. Yeah. So we'll actually see how Jazz Dispensary, it's like this will be just a fun compilation to actually put on Sticky Fingers, Smoky Air. It's time to go on a munchie trip. The Great Diggers of Jazz Dispensary have been set loose on an archive of classic midnight movies. And they brought back a treasure trove of jams. Lay back and enjoy. So let's look at what this guy looks like. Again, trying to not cut the sleeve. That would be good. As before, we have really nice retro sleeve. Fritz the Cat, Tough Guys, Don't Play Us Cheap, Dynamite Brothers, Sweetback's Badass Song. That one's obvious. Cornbread Earl and Me. Yeah. Mr. Cosby. Heavy Traffic, Black Girl, and Truck Turner. I'm the Isaac Hayes Truck Turner crack. And look at what this guy looks like. That is pretty wild. So, great color vinyl version matches the psychedelic nature of the outside. Okay, the next record is Divine Spiritual, Sacred Soul, the Divine Spirituals Record Store Day, Volume 3. Now, this one's dangerous because now I'm going to have this and have to pick up Volumes 1 and 2. Which is very complicated for me. But again, fans of this channel will know I'm a huge fan of gospel soul. Oh, that's fun. So it's a die cut on the front. As you pull it out, the record actually does that. Paper sleeve, not polyline, unfortunately, with a story of God is a Mystery by Michael Hurt. The record itself, standard black vinyl. Let's try to get it out. It's going to go in a different sleeve anyway. And yeah, the record definitely has seen some love, a bunch of scuffing, a bunch of schmutz on it, not very clean, a couple fingerprints. Yeah, not the cleanest or most delicious of records, but some surface marking I'm hoping will clean up. But yeah, just sort of buyer beware on this. But I am very much excited to dig into the actual music for it. Again, I tried sort of digging some of this stuff up to actually listen to ahead of time, and I found one or two of them, and they were amazing, and everything else I couldn't find. So very wonderfully obscure stuff that this will be my ability to actually dive into. This one's a lot of fun too. This is on Kraft, and Kraft obviously makes excellent products on a regular basis. Written in the Soul, the Hits, the Stax Songwriters demos. So these are a series of Stax recordings, the original demos. There was a 7 CD collection, Written on the Soul, which collected all of this in one giant set. This is sort of a greatest hits of that. I would love if, I'm the lunatic that would buy the 7 LP set or even more. But nonetheless, you get stuff like Eddie Floyd's demos, Carla Thomas, Homer Brooks, all on one compilation. Highlights from the critically acclaimed box set featuring original demos, including Respect Yourself. Yeah, written in their soul that hits the Stax Songwriters demos. Let's see what this guy looks like inside. Oop. Okay. And we have, again, one of the things that you're going to get on Record Store Day is a new color variation. So yeah, orange vinyl, polyline sleeve, craft. Uses the same kind of sleeve, and yeah, night and day compared to the last record. Absolutely perfect. Looks great and wonderful. I'm not messing around orange color. That'll be fun to see on the table. And then finally for this year, I bought something I was relatively reluctant to get, and yet, who am I kidding? I love this band. The performance is like notoriously crap. 500 Songs podcast spent some time talking about how they were a mess. They just flew in. I don't know how this is actually going to sound in its entirety. Obviously, I have the video version where it sort of smooths out some of the nonsense when you're actually watching it instead of critically listening it. But here we are. I've been collecting a bunch of these Monterey things, and this is the Mamas and the Papas from Monterey. There's still a bunch to come from this concert, and rather than doing like one giant box set of everything, I'd love the Simon Garfunkel, for example, hasn't come out. But yeah, this is one of those incredibly historic, incredibly important things. Now, I did buy a couple years ago, it's actually on this channel somewhere, a sort of greatest hits of Monterey, which include a bunch of stuff. There is the Ravi Shankar, for example. I have not got, I think I've got enough between the DVD and that. But this is absolutely something that I will go Record Store Day exclusive. Mamas and Papas, Historic 1967 Monterey International Pop Festival Performance. Remastered from the original analog tape and pressed on gold vinyl. So that's the exclusive part. There's our master tape box. Pretty wild. Mamas and Papas, Wally Hader, WH is who I assume. 59 PS, NAB. Yeah, there we are. And the 8 tracks sort of at the bottom showing that Rolling Stones Mobiles, I believe how it was recorded. Yeah, so and considering John Phillips, who put it all together. And yeah, you got this sort of creamy yellow version of it. Very much excited to be actually digging into this one as well. Finally, this is Mike Flowers Pops, the Wonderwall 12-inch. It's not quite exactly the same as the original 12-inch, not the full album as the way that I wanted. It's a little bit cheaper than it was on actual Record Store Day, and I decided, I love his cover of Wonderwall so much. I used to play it all the time on my radio show. Cover of Light My Fire, Vince's Boy in 1999. It's not quite the full album that I would have wanted, but I just decided, what the hell, I should probably have this after all of these years. On vinyl, I have the CD. This was a very important record for me. It helped sort of set the mood of what I had when I had my radio show, Lizard a Go-Go, back 30 years ago now. But yeah, finally picking it up from last Record Store Day, the Mike Flowers Pops. Inside the record, again, one of these awful, awful paper sleeves. As I rip it open, but the record itself actually looks pretty darn good. And there's still some schmutz that's been sitting in paper so long. So yet again, the need to actually clean the thing. But I look forward to actually pumping this through the system and see how Mike Flowers actually sounds digitally recorded, not in a particularly great studio, but on vinyl, just because I'm a little bit of a lunatic. What are you going to do? Why not celebrate vinyl? Why not celebrate this crazy collection? Twice a year, there are worse things, definitely. So there we go. There's a look at our Record Store Day haul for Black Friday 2023. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, follow us on social media. We will see you next video. All the best. Take care.